Now, this particular figure is posed in a way that he's slightly leaning back. And while that's really a good dramatic look for him, you've got to have him standing pretty straight up in the mold if you want to cut him out easily. So I use this tool. Give me an idea of where the spine is. If it's straight, then the sprues are the right length. If you need to cut down one side or the other, just use a palette knife. Nice and sharp, nice and small. Now we're going to set him on the mold. This little platform. As you can see, or maybe not, I've written his name inside this little, what'll be a dish, and it's backwards. So anyway, I heat this surface up a little bit. Okay, it's glassy enough. There we go. Go around so toes don't overhang too much. Make sure he's square, or plumb I should say. Make sure he's nice and plumb on there. You gotta wait a little while. Let the clay cool down so that it sticks. Then we'll take our tool again and work the sprues into the base. So as you can see, I'm adding some fillets in here to make sure that, you know, we get a good sprue to pour, and one that's going to vent really nice. And this really matters to the quality of your sprues and vents. It'll improve your pouring time. It'll improve the quality of your casting. So take a little time to do that too. So anyway, once you've gone and cleaned up the fillets around your sprues, and they're nicely transitioned into the base, you come around to this little back thing here, and you eyeball down the back, and you make a line. This is a guide line, so that when you take the form of the mold off and you take this base form off, you'll have a line that tells you where to cut, where the back of this figure is. So notice how nice he is now. The sprues are all attached. I pulled the red clay back a little bit. You want a 1/2 inch of silicone wall between the outside world and the cavity created by your figure. So I made sure this is a 1/2 inch away, and the form will go over this. So this is what you should get when you're just before you make the second part of the form. And we're calling these forms. This is the base form, then there's going to be the wall form. When you're making the wall form, you're going to have to do a little bit of preparation. This tool is indispensable. I got this at a swap meet many years ago. It's a 12-in-1 tool. I've only been able to figure out a few of its uses, but it's a square, it's a 6-inch rule, it's a 12-inch rule, and it's a protractor. Well, I guess I use it for more than that. I can measure the height of my mounted figure off the base form. And this dimension is very important because when you fill up the silicone rubber, you're going to want to be a minimum of a 1/2 inch away from the top of the head. So in order to do that, you have to know the height of your figure as it stands on your form. So what I do is I take my cardstock And I make a little notation on my, this is the inside part. Then I measure up here a 1/2 inch. Make a deeper mark so I can see it when I'm actually pouring. Make an arrow and just the word fill. That way I know when I'm looking inside this form, when I've reached the point, the minimum point for silicone over the figure's head. Because now I'm going to take it, I'm going to put it over the figure here and determine how much I need, because I'm going to cut some additional stuff off now. Notice that about this much, a good inch is not needed of this paper. So I'm going to cut an inch off. And I'm going to make a notation right inside here of where I need to be for this form. This is how big the form is. This is where I'm going to cut it off. So, cut off line right here. This is where the other side of the form goes to. So I'm just going to step off camera for the tape. Now I've got a cylinder just the right size. Once I've got that cylinder the right size, I like blue tape, 2-inch. I kind of try to pre-measure it, just ballpark it. Cut this, pull it, or tear this straight. Cut or tear this straight. You can do it any way you want, but make it relatively straight. So the other side is tucking in. I'm keeping this square part on the bottom, and you'll see why in a few minutes. So anyway, now I can make my cylinder. Notice I put this plywood here on top. It's just that to act as a weight to keep the paper in place while I blow it with a hair dye. Now this is going to melt the wax around here, but there's a way of doing this more efficiently. So what you want to do is to heat the paper. You want to heat the paper because the paper needs to get hot so that the clay will stick to it. Come in with your tool, bump it a little bit if you have to. Notice I'm pulling it up, creating a seal. And all the time, I'm not even blowing on the clay. I'm blowing on this paper. At least to a place where I can take this off and give you a shot of down inside the mold. As you can see here, it is nice and secure to the base mold. She's got plenty of space around her. In fact, maybe too much space. Maybe I made the cylinder just a little bit bigger than it needed to be. You really if you know, 1/2 inch is a rule of thumb. You don't want to go any less than that. But if you're doing a one-piece mold and you want to retain the original shape, you probably 3/4 like I've done here. It's good. It'll hold the detail much better that way.